Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Sims, and I'm on the phone here from Pharma in London. I'm joined by William Daley, who is Vice President, Business Development and Licensing and Medical Affairs at Sanofi. He's speaking to us from Bridgewater in New Jersey. Dr. Daley received a baccalaureate degree in Arts and Science from Boston University, went on to Harvard and Harvard Medical School, has a very illustrious academic career behind him, but also spent 5 years at Novartis and has been with Sanofi for the past 4.5 years. His research interests are in the field of vascular biology and thrombosis, and we're very interested to hear from him today on a topic that was originally to be covered in the Pharma Salesforce Effectiveness Conference, which was held in June 2012. So welcome, William, and great to have you here. We're going to see a short presentation from you, and I'm going to hand over to you right now.
Thank you very much, Paul, and I thank you for the invitation and for the organizers of this webcast. The topic today is pharmaceutical framework for relative medical value-based innovation. In the current healthcare environment, bringing a new drug to market infers that it is not only approved by the regulatory agencies, but also has favorable decisions by payers. This new environment dictates that pharmaceutical companies redefine their development process to ensure that their product provides maximum value to both payers and consumers. So, in this evolving environment, there is demand for value, quality improvement, consumer responsibility, transformation of the system, both in delivery and reimbursement. So what does future development look like? It is clearly a paradigm shift. And what is driving that shift? There are 5 key trends that one identifies. Certainly, healthcare reform, benefit risk assessment, relative value, innovative trial design, i.e. adaptive design, and value-based contracting. What will this new development look like? One would certainly see a shift toward more individualized medicine. I personally have an issue with the verbiage personalized medicine. All medicine is personalized. One would have to look at compliance. Things like global quality initiatives and operational guidelines. From a regulatory standpoint, the standard efficacy and safety trials no longer apply. You would have to put with that companion test. A companion test will identify the appropriate patient that will benefit from the therapy versus those who will not. One would certainly see a convergence of regulatory and payer environment. Clearly, one cannot forget technology. It's about electronic data capture, connectivity to increase compliance and impact health outcomes. In this environment of connectivity, one will get a 360-degree view of the patient. Now, let me provide you with a few definitions. Without understanding the language, you cannot communicate, therefore you cannot play. Relative effectiveness, the extent to which an intervention does more good than harm compared to others. Comparative effectiveness, research comparing the benefits and harm of different interventions in a real-world setting to improve outcomes, to determine which interventions are most effective for which patient. Patient-centered outcome research. Patient-centered outcome research is defined as it helps people make informed decisions regarding their health care. This research focuses on patient-centered questions. Real-world data is critical to successful relative effectiveness and comparative effectiveness. What are required by the pharma industry to address the need for real-world data and analytics? First, one would have to build internal capabilities. Second, develop strategic partnership with peers and certainly with academicians. In this environment, academicians understand the need for partnership. It is no longer us against them. Third, focus on comparative effectiveness. And finally, ensure consistency, compliance, and integrity. What is our strategy? Our strategy is to build a real-world data asset, develop innovative methodologies, and advance analytic capabilities. This includes building teams such as evidence generation team, external partnership team. We are defining and implementing comparative effectiveness framework, which consists of 3 main steps: setup, assessment, and definition, and this is extremely important. We must define what we are evaluating and what is the outcome and how do we measure it. And this is extremely critical. How do we measure the outcome? Comparative effectiveness generation for clinical trials, real-world validation, post-launch of a product. It is important to have international standards to ensure consistency. In real-world effectiveness, at Sanofi, we have a mission. We aspire to be the leader in real-world effectiveness by building real-world data hubs and effective partnerships. To be successful, it is important to have the following. Critical to have a roadmap, and critical to have key deliverables. Key deliverables ensure success and ensures that you stay on the right path. And finally, what are your deliverables? One must define those deliverables. What are the comparative effectiveness strategy at Sanofi? At Sanofi, we realize that comparative effectiveness needs a framework and requires real-world validation. The components of that framework are Relative Medical Value Index, which is called RMVI, Patient-Reported Outcomes, Benefit-Risk Framework, and of course, comparative effectiveness. It is critical to recognize that comparative effectiveness strategy requires, again, real-world validation. Comparative effectiveness research post-launch is critical. Finally, how do we link translational research and relative medical value evidence? This is what we refer to as bench to bedside and back. It is no longer bench to bedside. Bench to bedside has been a dogma for several years, where one develop a drug, take it into the real world, but never take that information back to understand and make better products. So we must close the loop by taking what we learn in the real world setting and applying that to future development. That is linking translational research and relative medical value evidence. So taking it from the bench to the bedside, that means what is the economic impact, what is the treatment impact, what is the patient-oriented clinical research, taking that information back to the bench such that one would develop better agents for patients. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bill. That was an excellent introduction to Sanofi's work in this area. I really appreciate you sharing it with us. Thanks again.